Do not resist what is happening. Every act of force only makes the mind heavier and the road ahead more obscured. When you fight against the flow of nature, you only drain yourself and lose the clarity you need to keep moving forward. Look at a stream of water. It does not crash into the rock, nor does it compete for dominance with an obstacle. It finds a way around, slips through crevices, and eventually turns the entire rock into a part of itself. Humans are the same. The wise know how to bend in order to go far, while the foolish strain themselves until they break. If the path you walk takes a turn, do not see it as a betrayal. It is part of the course that nature's wisdom has set. When the wind changes direction, a skilled sailor does not complain. He adjusts his sail to follow the new course while still keeping his destination. You must do the same. Never let blind will drive you headfirst into a wall. Flowing with the current is not passivity. It is deliberate action, observing, recognizing, and moving forward in harmony with circumstances. Every step must be guided by reason, not by fear or impulse. Only when the mind grows still can you see the hidden paths beneath the surface of chaos. When faced with an obstacle, ask yourself, if I do not resist, how can I make use of this? That question alone unlocks power, for within every obstacle lies an opportunity for you to grow stronger. What blocks the way today may become the foundation for tomorrow's success. Do not let frustration drain your energy. Strength is not in winning every battle, but in knowing how to ignore battles that are meaningless. Save your energy for what truly matters. When you preserve your strength for the right moments, your strike will be precise and powerful enough to change the course of events. You will never eliminate all turbulence, but you can turn turbulence into momentum. Just as the wind can break a weak branch, it can also carry a skillful boat to shore faster. It all depends on how you set your sail. Only when you accept that everything unfolds according to its own order will you stop wasting effort trying to control what is beyond your reach. From there, your energy is freed to focus on what you can do right now. And it is the deliberate actions in the present that will open the door to what you seek. Remember, true freedom is not controlling every detail of life, but walking through it with both initiative and calm. You do not need to strain to prove your strength. Your strength will reveal itself naturally when you keep moving forward, unshaken by circumstances. You are not merely living in this life, you are co-creating the path with it. Let it take you where you need to be, not sooner, not later, but at the exact moment it chooses. And then you will see, no event is your enemy. They are all simply bends in the river, guiding you to the ocean. When a desire turns into a compulsion, it instantly becomes a chain. You think you are pursuing a goal, but in truth, it is controlling you. For when you say, I must have it at all costs, you have taken your peace hostage to the outcome. Wanting is natural, but sacrificing your inner peace to chase it is spiritual suicide. The wise nurture desire, like keeping a flame warm enough to light the way, but not so wild that it burns reason to ashes. Observe those who seem to have everything. They do not beg for every opportunity, nor do they panic when they fall a step behind. They act with ease, as if what they want will come in its time. and if it does not, they remain whole. That is the magnetism of those who are not dependent on results. When you need something in order to feel complete, you place your happiness in the hands of an uncontrollable variable. In contrast, when you want something yet can still stand firm if it does not happen, you have freed yourself from the power of circumstances. That freedom makes you attractive to both people and opportunities. Hold your desire as you would hold a butterfly. Grip too tightly, and you will break its fragile wings. Hold it just enough, and it will stay because it wants to, not because it is imprisoned. This attitude is the foundation of every wise decision, for it comes from fullness, not from lack. Do not mistake this for coldness. You still act, you still devote effort to what you wish for, but you do so from a place of initiative, not desperation. You tell life, I choose this, but I do not depend on it to live fully. And it is precisely then that you create space for the best possible outcome to enter. Many times, the best outcome does not match what you thought you wanted. Your view is always limited by where you stand, while nature's order sees the whole picture. When one door does not open, it may not be because it rejects you, but because another path is waiting, leading to a greater expanse. Keeping desire unbound helps you make wiser choices. From a steady position, you are no longer driven by the fear of missing out. Every decision then becomes a considered act, not a reflex born of survival instinct. Try it with what you most long for right now. Hold its image in your mind, then let out a long breath and tell yourself, either this will come or something better is on its way. You will feel the weight lift from your shoulders. That lightness is the space where opportunity can slip in. This attitude not only frees you from tension, but also makes you hard to shake. One who is not bound to a single outcome is one who cannot be manipulated. No one can bribe or threaten you with something you have not staked your spiritual life upon. Unbound desire is a subtle form of strength. It is not loud like frenzied craving, but it is more enduring and compelling. It allows you to move forward with clear eyes, an open heart, and hands ready to receive rather than clutch. Life gives the most to those who do not demand it obey their will. When you stop forcing the river to flow your way, it will take you where you need to go, often faster and more gently than you imagined. Keep your desire, but do not let it keep you. Honor it as part of the journey, but do not let it decide the worth of your entire life. When you understand this, your peace can no longer be bought, and all good things will come as an inevitable consequence. All dependence makes you weaker, even when what you depend on is something good. When you need it to feel okay, you have handed over your power to it, and anything that holds the authority to decide your state of mind becomes your master. Necessity is the invisible hook that hangs your peace high above, lowering it only when it pleases. The more you reach for it, the farther it pulls away. For in your every movement, it senses the lack within you, and lack always emits a signal that pushes everything away. One who is free from necessity is not someone who wants nothing. They still want, but they know clearly the boundary between want and need. Want is the choice of intellect. Need is the bondage of instinct. Want carries initiative. Need drags dependence along with it. When you stop needing, you open a space for nature to operate. With no force coming from you, good things can drift toward you as naturally as breath. It is an effortless magnetism. Like the fragrance of a flower, it does not chase anyone, yet all who pass by wish to linger. To reach this state, you must look directly into the fear of loss. Ask yourself, if I do not have this, do I still retain my worth? When the answer is yes, you have just cut away one rope that binds you. And with each rope removed, your steps grow lighter. Necessity makes you restless, and restlessness blinds you. It makes you choose the wrong moment, act too soon or too late. In contrast, freedom from necessity keeps you clear-headed. From there, every step you take is steady and in rhythm. Observe those who always attract good opportunities and good people. They do not chase, they do not cling. Their composure is a declaration that says, I am enough, and I will only become more so. Others sense this and come toward them, for no one is drawn to desperate lack. This freedom also protects you from false temptations. When you need something too much, you are quick to accept any distorted version of it just to fill the gap. But when you are not driven by absolute need, you have the patience to wait for the version most worthy of you. Do not forget that truly good things come when both you and the circumstances are ready. Not when you demand, not when you stamp your feet in waiting, but when you keep walking forward without looking back, allowing it to catch up to you on its own. The Stoics understood that true freedom does not lie in possessing much, but in not being bound to anything. When you keep your peace, regardless of whether you have something or not, you hold the advantage in every situation, and from that position of advantage, everything you desire will come as a natural result. Try living one day without needing anything beyond breath and reason. Let every other want become a choice, not a condition. You will see the world respond differently. It becomes lighter, and the road ahead opens wider. When you stop needing everything, you truly see their value, for then they are no longer what you cling to for survival, but gifts to be enjoyed. And a gift only has meaning when it is given, not when it is seized. Freedom from necessity is the first step toward inner steadiness. And it is precisely this steadiness that becomes the magnet, drawing all good things to you, without chasing, without forcing. All strength lies in this moment, not tomorrow, not yesterday. If your mind wanders, you will walk past open doors without even knowing they are there. One bound by the past will see every opportunity with suspicion. One immersed in the future will touch the present with hurried hands, always afraid of missing something ahead. Neither sees that the only road leading to any future begins right here. When you are fully present, the world reveals signals that a scattered mind can never perceive. A glance, a casual word, a moment of silence, all can become the starting point of a great change, but only the attentive can see and seize them. Presence is not merely being physically there. It is giving your complete attention, holding nothing back for scenarios that have not yet happened, and not letting your mind sink into memories. It is a state in which every sense is sharp, and the intellect can read the subtlest messages from the circumstances. You will notice that when you give yourself wholly to this moment, your energy shifts, restlessness disappears, your gaze grows steadier, your words more assured, and others can feel that presence as an inexplicable pull. This is why truly magnetic people are not those who speak the most, but those who make you feel you are their sole focus in that moment. Presence is also how you shed invisible burdens. The past can be a chain, the future an illusion. Both pull you away from the ground beneath your feet. Without that foundation, every action becomes shaky. But when you anchor yourself in the present, each step is firm, each decision born from solid ground. Do not mistake presence for slowness. This is not stopping to watch life pass you by. It is living fully in each action so that it carries maximum power. When drinking water, only drink water. When listening, only listen. When acting, only act. Every task done with complete focus yields results far greater than hurried steps taken with your mind elsewhere. Some opportunities never come again. They do not appear because you calculated them, but because you were in the right place, in the right state. If your mind is busy thinking about a race that has not begun, you will fail to notice the starting line right beneath your feet. Practice presence through simple things. Feel the breath going in and out. Let your eyes meet the morning light. Hear every sound around you without judgment. These small practices train you to return to this moment whenever your mind drifts. When presence becomes instinct, you will find life offering you many things that seem by chance. But nothing is by chance. They are rewards for those alert enough to be there when the moment arrives. You cannot live twice in the same moment. If you miss it because you are worrying about what has not come, you have cut yourself off from the very lifeline of your existence. The present is not only where you exist, it is where everything is created. And any future you desire is forged from present moments like this. Enter each day with a simple resolve, to be wholly in the moment you are living, not distracted by what has passed, not driven by what has yet to come. When you do this, you will see that the most important doors often do not swing wide open, but open just enough for the one who is fully present to notice and step through. All lasting achievement is nourished by undivided focus. When your energy is scattered in 10 directions, none of them has the force to break through the wall ahead. But when your entire mind is concentrated on a single point, that power becomes as sharp as a blade, able to cut through any obstacle. Deep focus is not merely fixing your eyes and ears. It is the state in which your whole being, from thoughts and emotions to actions, aligns toward one single goal. In that state, all excess disappears. Only what directly serves the path ahead remains. One who does not know how to focus is like someone holding a torch but letting the wind blow it out again and again. Each time they turn toward another direction, the light weakens and darkness advances. In contrast, one who keeps the flame in one place will see the torch burn bright, illuminating even the distant path. Deep focus is also a way to protect the mind from unnecessary disturbances. The world always has thousands of calls, false opportunities, tempting invitations, meaningless comparisons. If you let yourself be pulled toward every sound, you will forget your original direction. Focus is selection. Keeping what matters, leaving aside what does not, bring you closer to your goal. But deep focus does not come from strain. You cannot keep your mind fixed on one point if your inner world is torn by too many desires. That is why those who let go of excess needs often focus better. A light mind stands still, a heavy mind runs wild. Every moment you truly concentrate, you are sending a powerful signal to the world. This is what I choose. This is where I'm going. That signal draws in the elements that match it, for energy always flows toward clarity. In contrast, dispersion produces only noise, and noise never calls great opportunities. Deep focus also trains you to see what others overlook. While most people are busy with trivialities, you have dug into the core, and it is within that depth that breakthrough solutions and rare opportunities appear. Remember, what you focus on will grow. If you focus on the problem will expand. If you focus on the solution will open wider. Deep focus forces you to direct your gaze toward what nourishes your goal, not what drains it. Practicing focus does not have to start with big things. Choose one task, one habit each day, and do it with your full presence. When reading, only read. When listening, only listen. When thinking, think about one single matter until you see it clearly. Each time you do this, you are training your mind to remain in a single stream of flow. A mind trained in this way is like an arrow drawn taut on the bowstring. Its force does not lie in chaotic trembling, but in that single moment when it is released with all its gathered strength. Great opportunities require the same release. One action at the right moment, with all the energy prepared beforehand. Do not live like a flickering lamp, bright one moment and dim the next. Be the lamp that burns steadily, lighting each step ahead. When you focus deeply, the world will notice, and opportunity, instead of needing to be chased, will seek to enter that circle of light. Deep focus does more than create success. It creates respect from yourself. Because you know you have lived fully in each moment, not wasting your light on what is unworthy. And this self-respect will be the firm foundation that allows you to walk into any challenge without faltering. Every great road is lined with obstacles, not to stop you, but to prove you are worthy to continue. The weak see an obstruction and turn back. The strong see the same barrier but recognize it as merely a disguised turn in the road. An obstacle is not an enemy. It is a stern teacher, forcing you to shed clumsiness, carelessness, and illusions. Each time you are stopped, life is asking, are you ready to change in order to go further? If the answer is yes, that very obstacle will become the bridge that carries you across the chasm. When faced with resistance, instinct often drives you to react immediately, to grow angry, to complain, or to try to smash through at any cost. Wisdom acts differently. It pauses, observes, and seeks the angle that impatience overlooks. Obstacles often open a new route you cannot see. When everything is going smoothly, remember, a river does not halt its flow simply because it meets a rock. It changes course, divides into channels, or even wears the rock down over time. In the end, the very boulder that once blocked the way becomes part of a more beautiful landscape. You can do the same, letting obstacles blend into the journey rather than remain wounds in your memory. Sometimes the obstacle is not outside, but within your own mind. Doubt, fear, memories of failure. These are also rocks blocking the current. If you do not recognize and transform them, you will carry them along every path, and wherever you go, they will build the same wall. Turning obstacles into pathways requires a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is it training me for?" Every challenge contains a skill, a quality, or a lesson you need for the next stage. If you pass through it without learning, you will meet it again in another form. Patience is your ally in this process. Many obstacles cannot be broken instantly, but can be worn down over time. Do not give up just because the detour takes longer. The detour is often safer and better prepares you for the road ahead. You must also learn to use the strength of the obstacle. Just as a fighter uses the opponent's momentum to bring him down, you can turn pressure into propulsion. Rejection can drive you to improve. Loss can force you to innovate. Without pressure, you would never know how strong you truly are. Do not forget that the most valuable roads are rarely paved smooth. If everything were easy, the destination would hold nothing worth keeping. It is the obstacles that increase the value of the journey and make the result worth having. Let each obstruction be a reminder, I am in the right place, moving in the right direction. When you hold that mindset, every barrier becomes simply another shape of a doorway, and instead of stopping, you will find a way to open it or go around it to still reach your goal. Life does not measure your strength by how many times you avoid obstacles, but by how you face them and make them part of the road. When you do that, you will realize no obstacle is truly a blockade. They are all stones, paving the very path you are walking. Blind strength only knows how to charge forward, believing that pushing hard enough will break every barrier. But life is not just a wall to smash through. It is a maze where only those who can bend and adapt will find the way out. Acceptance is not bowing your head to fate. It is acknowledging the full picture so you can choose the most intelligent point to act. The unwise see acceptance as weakness. The far-sighted recognize it as the most refined form of power. When you fight against everything, you waste energy on what cannot be changed. When you accept, you preserve that energy to influence what is still within your reach. It is the difference between someone drifting with the current but still steering and someone exhausting themselves by swimming upstream. Acceptance is like water taking the shape of its container, never arguing with it, yet always retaining its own essence. Water is soft, but it cannot be broken. It slips through cracks, finds its way downward, and eventually wears away even what seemed immovable. Skillful acceptance begins with distinguishing what can be changed from what must be left as it is. If a storm is coming, you do not stand in the middle of the field shouting at the sky. You find shelter, wait for the rain to pass, and then step out to continue your journey. Many trap themselves in anger at their circumstances. They believe resisting at all costs is a sign of strength. But true strength is not in bashing your head against a wall. It is in finding the door, even if it lies in the opposite direction, of your original intent. Acceptance is also a way to keep a clear mind amid chaos. When you are no longer consumed by fighting reality, you open your eyes to observe it. And from that observation, solutions appear. Opportunity never comes to those too busy hating the present moment to recognize the value hidden within it. The hardest part of acceptance is letting go of the want right now. Humans are driven by the feeling of control, yet often the greatest control is knowing when to let go. You do not lose power when you accept. You simply shift it into a more sustainable form. Remember, the trees that survive storms are not the stiffest ones, but those that bend when the wind is strong. When the wind passes, they lift their heads again, intact and ready to keep growing. The strategy of acceptance requires patience and faith that every event has its rightful place in the larger picture. You do not need to understand the entire picture to move forward. You only need to know that the square you stand on is a necessary piece of it. When you practice this, you find yourself less caught in meaningless battles. You know how to choose your fights, when to advance and when to step back. And that flexibility allows you to go farther than those who only know how to charge without pause. Acceptance does not make you weaker. It makes you harder to defeat. For when you do not resist everything, nothing can truly exhaust you. You become like water, always moving forward, yet never breaking yourself in the process. That is why graceful flexibility always outlasts blind strength. Strength may win a battle, but flexibility wins the whole war. And in life, only those who can win in the long run are truly strong. When your soul depends on external measures, you have placed your fate in the hands of others. A single word of praise can lift you up. A single word of criticism can drag you down. Your happiness becomes a small boat, adrift on the vast sea, pushed anywhere by the emotional waves of the world. Inner sovereignty begins when you realize that every judgment, every number, every sign from the world is only an echo. An echo cannot exist without an original sound, and that original sound is how you see yourself. If the original sound is weak, the echo will distort you. If the original sound is strong, the echo cannot alter its tone. One who has lost inner sovereignty lives like a puppet. The strings are not in their own hands, but in the hands of circumstances, financial conditions, comparisons with others. When all goes well, they are elated. When things change, they collapse. They let the weather of the world decide the seasons in their mind. When you reclaim your sovereignty, you cut those strings. You tell yourself, my value does not rise or fall according to anyone's gaze. You still listen to feedback, still acknowledge criticism, but you do not let it touch your core. That core is built by you, brick by brick, from your own beliefs and principles. This is not closing your doors to the world. It is opening them selectively, letting in the light, but not allowing storms to scatter everything inside. You become the gatekeeper of your own mind, deciding what stays and what must go. Inner sovereignty is also the foundation of freedom. When you are not bribed by praise or threatened by criticism, you act for what is right, not for what is easy or pleasing to the crowd. This integrity makes your steps firm on any terrain, for you no longer bend yourself to fit into someone else's mold. Many fear losing recognition, but true recognition only comes when you no longer need it to live. When others see you standing firm without clinging, they are drawn to you. This is the magnetism of spiritual self-reliance, something no one can give or take away. Reclaiming inner sovereignty requires a habit. Each morning, before looking at your phone, your scoreboard, or the eyes of the world, ask yourself, what emotion do I choose today, regardless of what happens? When the answer becomes consistent action, you have stepped out of the control of the outside world. Remember, everything you see is only a mirror reflecting the inner self. Change the inside, and the image outside will change accordingly. But if you only chase the image outside, you will forever adjust the mirror without ever touching your true face. When inner sovereignty is fortified, you will find the silence within your soul becoming a fortress. Storms may strike, but they only sweep past the outer walls. Inside, you still govern your own light and warmth. And that is the kind of power no event can ever touch. If you do not choose your own state of mind, the world will choose for you, and it will rarely choose what you desire. Every day begins with a mental space, and that space will be filled either by what you intentionally plant there, or by whatever chaos from the outside throws into it. Maintaining mental initiative means laying the foundation within before anyone or anything touches you. You decide where you will stand, how you will feel, and how you will respond, before news, words, or unexpected events have the chance to dictate it. A person who does not maintain initiative is like someone who leaves their door wide open, allowing any stranger to walk in, bringing dust and noise with them. By the time you realize it, your mental space has already been occupied, and every decision you make that day is merely a passive reaction to what has invaded. In contrast, a person with mental initiative wakes up and immediately sets boundaries. They do not allow the first touch on them to come from the outside world. They tell themselves, "This is how I will step into today." That statement is an order for the mind and body to align. This is not ignoring reality or self-deception. It is preparation, like a warrior fastening armor and gripping their weapon before going into battle. Once prepared, any situation that arises is handled from a position of strength, not panic. Mental initiative is also how you break the chain of automatic reactions. Most people respond based on their first emotion, and that first emotion is usually triggered by something beyond their control. But when you choose your state beforehand, any emotion that arises must pass through the filter you have already set. For example, if you decide that today you will remain calm, every act of provocation will be received through the lens of calmness. You will no longer be dragged into someone else's fight. That peace not only protects you, but also weakens the other party, because they cannot shake what you have intentionally held firm. Maintaining mental initiative requires daily repetition. You cannot wait until the waves rise to start learning how to row. Every morning, before opening the door to information, take time to establish your base state for the day. It could be focus, calmness, determination, or creativity. Choose one and let every action that day flow from it. When you do this, you will find yourself less entangled in unnecessary emotions. You will no longer spend your entire day putting out fires you did not start. Instead, you will preserve your energy for what truly matters. This also allows you to become an anchor for others. When those around you waver, they will seek the steadiness in you, and at that moment, your influence expands effortlessly. Remember, the world will always try to claim your attention and emotions. Maintaining mental initiative is your declaration. You may touch my circumstances, but you cannot control my mind. Once you master this, you will realize that true power does not lie in controlling every event, but in controlling how you enter and move through each of them. Not every movement is progress. There are those who stay busy all day, but busy only to keep themselves from feeling empty, not to truly move forward. They mistake motion for advancement, filling time for creating value. The art of purposeful non-action begins with understanding that action is not always the solution, and sometimes stopping is the wisest move. The impatient see stillness as waste. The wise see it as the preparation stage for a decisive strike. Non-action does not mean passivity. It is the deliberate choice to do nothing when the time is not yet right, in order to preserve energy and carefully observe the context. Just as an archer does not release the arrow before clearly identifying the target, the wise do not waste ammunition into empty space simply to satisfy the feeling of doing something. Purposeful non-action requires the ability to restrain the instinct to fix things immediately. That instinct often comes from anxiety, fear, or social pressure. When you act only to soothe unease, you are likely to fall into wrong decisions that cost time and resources. Those who master this art understand the value of timing. Some seeds must be planted, but they also need time in darkness to sprout. If you dig them up to check every day, you will only kill them. Likewise, certain plans, relationships, or opportunities must be nurtured quietly before making the next public move. This is not endless procrastination. Procrastination is avoidance. Purposeful non-action is a strategic choice. You pause not because you fear moving forward, but because you know that one step taken at the right time will take you farther than 10 rushed steps. Observe skilled chess players. They do not move pieces simply to appear active. They wait patiently until an opening on the board appears, and when they act, that move changes the entire game. Every action should carry this quality: few but precise, rare but decisive. Purposeful non-action also sharpens your vision. When you are not scattering yourself in every direction, your perception becomes clearer. You notice details that those constantly rushing into action will miss. And sometimes one small detail spotted in stillness can change the entire plan. To practice, begin by asking yourself before each action, is this coming from clarity or from anxiety? If the answer is anxiety, stop. Let your mind settle. Because clarity only emerges when the noise of fear goes silent. You will find that when you learn to choose your moments, results become more balanced and sustainable. Fewer mistakes, fewer losses, and energy conserved for the truly important moments. The art of purposeful non-action is the lesson of the mentally strong, knowing when to advance, when to wait, and when to withdraw to return with the upper hand. Progress is not measured by the number of steps taken, but by the strength and meaning of each step. And once you have absorbed this principle, you will no longer feel the urge to act just for the sake of acting. You will know that sometimes the greatest power lies not in constant action, but in steady stillness while you wait for the right moment. Every seed needs time in darkness before it can reach for the light. Without that silence and patience, no sprout is strong enough to break through the thick layer of soil. Life operates the same way. Many great things can only take shape when they are quietly nurtured, away from hurried eyes and restless hands. You may want to see results immediately, but that desire often comes from impatience, not wisdom. Ripening cannot be forced to accelerate. Each stage must be fully lived through, so that what you await will have a foundation strong enough to last. If you shorten the process, you will receive a weaker version, one that collapses easily at the first challenge. Silence is not dead time. It is the time of preparation, accumulation, and inner transformation. Just as wine must rest in wooden barrels to develop a complete flavor, ideas need to be steeped in thought, plans need refinement, and people need to be forged through experiences and trials. The superficial see silence as a sign of failure. They think that if there is no visible progress, nothing is happening. But in truth, beneath the surface, movement is constant. Knowledge is being gathered, skills are being honed, and circumstances are quietly arranging themselves to align with what is coming. Silence is also a filter. It eliminates those who are only caught up in initial excitement, but lack the patience to see things through. Only those truly committed remain until the door opens. And when something great finally appears, it is rarely an unexpected gift. It is the inevitable result of purposeful waiting. The hardest part is holding on to faith when nothing seems to change. That faith does not rely on outside proof, but on the inner knowing that everything needs time to crystallize. Those who keep this faith will not be swayed by comparisons or pressure from others. Silence also trains you in a rare quality, calmness in the face of life's pace. You no longer feel the need to race against everyone else, nor to prove your worth through outward speed. You measure progress by depth, not by noise. Learn to look at silence with gratitude. Every day without visible results is another day you have to prepare better, to be more ready for the moment of transformation. Like an archer drawing a bow, the longer you patiently hold it taut, the farther and more accurately the arrow will fly when released. Do not be deceived by stillness. In the darkness of the soil, the seed is unfolding cell by cell. In your own stillness, thoughts are finding structure, plans are finding perfection, and opportunities are finding their way to you. When the time is right, everything will bloom at once, as if it came from nowhere, but you will know you have been preparing for that moment all along. The silence of ripening is not the overlooked part of the journey. It determines the quality of the destination. Those who honor this stage will gain lasting results. Those who disregard it will have to walk the road again, this time with greater losses. So, be patient. Let what you are building grow at its own pace. When it is ripe, nothing will be able to stop it from shining, and you will step out from that silence not only with the result in your hands, but with an inner strength deep enough to protect and nurture it for years to come. You will never be truly wealthy if you are not grateful, even if you hold everything in your hands. For wealth is not measured by what you possess, but by your ability to recognize value, even in what is imperfect. Gratitude is an act of wisdom, not an instinctive reflex. Instinct only sees lack and flaws. Wisdom sees the lesson, the opportunity, and the meaning hidden within them. When you focus on what you do not yet have, your mind will always operate in a state of deficiency. But when you are grateful, even for the smallest things, you shift into a state of abundance, and it is this very state that attracts even greater things. True gratitude is not a rosy coat to cover reality. It does not deny hardship nor pretend that everything is fine. It accepts reality as it is, then chooses to focus on the value within it. A failure can be a wound, but it can also be a training course. A criticism can be a blow, but it can also be a mirror to reflect upon yourself. Those who lack gratitude often trap themselves in a cycle of dissatisfaction. They attain something new, quickly take it for granted, and continue chasing the next thing. Their enough always moves further away, preventing them from ever pausing to enjoy what they already have. In contrast, the grateful remain appreciative both at the starting point and at the destination. They do not need to wait for a grand event to feel happy. Each of their days holds a reason to smile. Gratitude is also a form of mental strength. In times of ease, it keeps you humble. In hardship, it keeps you from despair. A grateful person is not thrown off course by a single event. They have trained themselves to find the light even in the dark. Practicing gratitude is not complicated. Each morning, before rushing into the day's grind, choose 3 things you appreciate. It could be your health, a friend, an opportunity, or simply the fact that you have another day to live. Each night, before sleeping, think of one unpleasant thing from the day and find at least one value it brought you. This habit will not change your circumstances immediately, but it will change the way you step into them. You will notice that when you are grateful, relationships become warmer. Others feel seen and appreciated, and they will want to give more back to you. Opportunities work the same way. The universe often entrusts more to those who have shown they value what they already have. Gratitude also protects you from the trap of comparison. When your mind is full of appreciation for what is present, it no longer has room for envy toward others. You can see their success as inspiration rather than as a threat. The important thing is to maintain gratitude even when things are not perfect. In truth, things are rarely perfect in the way you imagine, but if you wait until every flaw is gone before you allow yourself to feel happiness, you will be waiting your whole life. The art lies in working to improve while being grateful throughout the process. When gratitude becomes a principle of life, you will find yourself less entangled in dissatisfaction and more often in moments of peace. You enter each day not with a mindset of demand, but with a readiness to receive. And in that state, good things will come to you, not because you forced them, but because you have become a place worthy for them to dwell. Emotions are like messengers. They bring messages from your inner world, signaling what is happening in your mind and body. But when you grant them the right to rule, the messenger becomes the ruler, and the throne of reason is overthrown. One who lacks emotional sovereignty lets themselves drift with every wave. Joy pushes them high, fear drags them low, and anger makes them lose direction. Every external fluctuation becomes a remote control command, and they merely react instead of actively deciding. Emotional sovereignty does not mean denying or suppressing emotions. You cannot banish the messenger from your kingdom. What you must do is receive their message, decode it, and then decide for yourself. Emotions only deliver the news. Action is your right. When angry, instead of reacting immediately, take a step back and ask, what is the message here? What makes me feel threatened or wronged? When sad, resist the urge to drown in it. Ask yourself, what is this sadness pointing out as important to me? This way of dialogue keeps you in the role of the ruler, not the one being ruled. Emotional sovereignty also shields you from manipulation. Many will try to trigger your emotions to control your actions, stirring fear to make you submit, inflating hope to make you rush, or creating guilt to gain advantage. But when you can step outside your emotions and observe them, you break that cycle of control. Those who master their emotions know how to choose the right moment to act. They do not let impulses decide for them, because they understand that one hasty moment can destroy the results of many years. They allow emotions to settle, like a lake returning to stillness, before deciding which way to steer. Practicing emotional sovereignty starts with awareness. Each time an emotion arises, name it. When you can name it, you have already separated yourself from it by a space. That space is where you can choose the right response. Next, train yourself to endure emotions without being swept away. Sit with the discomfort, observe it, and recognize that it comes and goes like every other phenomenon. Emotion is not a fixed identity. It is only a wave, and you, if steady, will always be the ocean beneath. When you master this, you will find yourself more steadfast in all situations. Success will not make you arrogant, and failure will not drive you to despair. Praise will not delude you, and criticism will not strip you of your worth. All external changes merely skim the surface without touching your core. Emotional sovereignty is a form of ultimate freedom. It frees you from being a slave to fleeting reactions and returns to you the power to choose your course. When emotions are the messenger and you are the one who commands, life is guided by wisdom, not by the passing winds of mood. And in that moment you will realize, controlling circumstances is impossible, but controlling how you respond to them is always in your hands. That is the true power, one that no one and nothing can ever take away. Fullness does not lie in the treasures you possess, but in how you see them. One who clutches a mountain of gold can still live in scarcity if their eyes are fixed only on what has not yet been attained. One who holds nothing can still be rich if they know how to cherish every single thing they already have. The philosophy of enough does not teach you to abandon ambition, but to lay the foundation of happiness on what you already have, instead of hanging it on what has yet to arrive. When you know you are already enough, you no longer act from fear or lack, but from the freedom to choose. And that freedom is the most fertile soil for every achievement. Those who always feel lacking will keep running without ever reaching the finish line. They live in a loop, achieving something, feeling it is still not enough, then chasing the next thing. Their moments of satisfaction are as brief as a breath, while their sense of lack stretches as long as a lifetime. Those who follow the philosophy of enough see the world differently. They still set goals, still broaden their horizons, but they do not use results to measure their self-worth. They know that worth already exists, whether wealth, fame, or recognition come or not. This belief allows them to enter the game with calmness, their vision unclouded by pressure. Enough is also a shield against temptation. When you are not driven by a sense of lack, you are not easily lured into things that are flashy yet hollow. You can say no to opportunities that stray from your principles because you do not need them to prove your worth. Practicing the philosophy of enough does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you enjoy the journey even before reaching the destination. You still move forward, but you do not treat the present as merely a waiting period. You see the value of today even as you build for tomorrow. A simple way to train this is to list 3 things each night before you sleep that make you feel you are enough. It could be health, a trusted friend, a peaceful afternoon, or simply a deep breath. Repeating this daily will ease your mind about what you have yet to achieve and make you lighter in facing challenges. The interesting thing is that when you live in the state of enough, you end up attracting more. Others can sense your stability and independence. Opportunities come not because you chase them, but because you have become a place worthy for them to flourish. Remember, lack and fullness are not conditions of circumstance, but states of mind. There will always be someone who surpasses you in some aspect, and there will always be someone who has less than you. If you let comparison decide how you feel, you will always be swayed. But if you choose your own point of enough, you will always stand firm, no matter how the world changes around you. The philosophy of enough not only brings peace, but also creates a solid foundation for growth. When you no longer act from lack, every step you take is steady and clear. And once you learn to be enough in every moment, you will realize you were never truly lacking at all. You cannot expect to receive what is truly meant for you if you keep living as someone else's copy. When you wear a mask to please the masses, you also cover the signpost that would guide the right opportunities and people to you. Living true does not mean exposing everything. It means keeping your deepest core from being bent by outside expectations or pressure. A person who lives true may adjust their expression to communicate gracefully, but they will never trade their values, principles, or dreams for approval. Compromising on principles is the shortest path to a life that does not belong to you. Once you become accustomed to ignoring your inner voice to please others, bit by bit, your identity fades, and when your identity is gone, whatever comes to you will be things meant for someone else. Living true requires courage, because it means accepting that not everyone will like you. Some doors will close, some people will leave, but that is precisely what makes what remains valuable. Relationships built on genuine understanding, opportunities aligned with your true abilities and direction. When you live in alignment with yourself, your energy becomes clear. Others may not agree with you, but they will sense your consistency and respect you for it. This respect is far more enduring than the shallow fondness you must buy by betraying yourself. Living true is also a form of natural filtering. It causes what does not fit to leave on its own, saving you time and energy to focus on what is worthy. You no longer need to hold on to relationships or projects that exhaust you just to keep the peace, because you understand that real harmony only exists when both sides can be themselves. The greatest danger of not living true is that you start believing in the role you've created. At that point, you are not only deceiving others, but also yourself. And a life built on falsehood, no matter how successful it looks from the outside, will still leave an emptiness that nothing can fill. Living true is not about opposing everything to prove you are different. It is about consciously choosing, keeping what aligns with your nature and letting go of what does not. You can still learn and adapt, but every change comes from inner agreement, not outside pressure. Begin with small things. In a conversation, say what you truly think, with respect. In a choice, choose what aligns with your values, even if it is the harder path. Each time you do this, you strengthen the foundation of your authenticity and make your path clearer. You will see that when you live true, what comes to you will also be true. Companions who share your vision, opportunities that do not require you to trade your essence, and achievements you can be proud of because they were earned through an honest path. Authenticity opens the way for what is right to find you, and when what is right comes, you will realize there is no need to fight for it or cling to it. It stays because it belongs to you, just as you belong to it. And that is the kind of deep harmony that no falsehood can create. Everything has its own rhythm. A seed cannot bloom before its season. The tide cannot rise before the moon is full, and your path is the same. Each milestone will arrive at the right time, neither too early nor too late, no matter how much you long for it. Impatience drives people to try to force time. They pull the young shoot out of the soil because they want to see the tree grow faster, only to end up with a fragile stem that cannot stand on its own. They rush toward the result without realizing that it is the very process of preparation that gives the result its value. Trusting the timing of destiny does not mean sitting still and leaving everything to fate. It is the balance between effort and letting go. Doing your part with full dedication, then allowing nature to decide when the reward will appear. You cannot command the wind, but you can prepare your sails so that when it comes, you can set off at once. The hardest part is accepting that you are not ready, even when your desire feels ripe. Some opportunities, if they come too soon, will become burdens. Some relationships, if they appear before you are mature enough, will be nothing more than a chain of misunderstandings and wounds. Destiny is not rejecting you. It is protecting you from your own impatience. Look back at the best things that have happened in your life. How many of them arrived exactly when you predicted? Usually the answer is, not many. They came unexpectedly through winding paths, often bringing results better than you had imagined. When you trust the timing, you free yourself from the burden of controlling everything. You no longer live in constant tension for fear of missing out, because you understand that what is yours will find you, even if it must take the long road. This trust gives you the calm to enjoy each day, instead of turning the present into a waiting room for a future that has not yet arrived. Trusting the timing also sharpens your ability to read signs. When you are no longer obsessed with pushing forward, you will see more clearly when the real opening comes. Like a seasoned sailor, you will notice the shift in the wind before others do. And when that happens, you will act swiftly and precisely, without missing your chance. It is important to distinguish between patience and procrastination. Patience is continuing to prepare and improve while waiting. Procrastination is finding excuses not to move forward. Destiny will send signals when the time arrives, but if you are not ready, the opportunity will pass you by like a ship that does not dock at your harbor. Practicing trust in timing begins with letting go of the question, when? Instead, ask yourself, what can I do today so that when the time comes, I am ready to receive it fully? This question brings your mind back to the present, the only place where you have the power to act. Destiny has a way of making everything align at the right moment. A path that seems delayed may lead you to meet the right person at the right place at the right time. A wait that feels pointless may give you the chance to accumulate the knowledge and strength you need. So do not fear pauses. Do not be quick to judge a closed door as failure. It may only be part of a schedule you cannot yet see. When you live with this trust, you will know how to act decisively when the opportunity opens and how to rest peacefully when the path requires waiting. Everything arrives on time, neither early nor late, and when it comes you will realize that every day of waiting had meaning because it shaped you into someone worthy of receiving it and strong enough to keep it for the long haul.